On today's Olympic Hockey Daily, presented by Locked On NHL, we break down how Uncle Leo and the team from Finland became golden and wrap up our coverage of the hockey tournament in Beijing.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to this final Olympic hockey edition of Locked On NHL. I'm Rachel Donner from Locked On Flyers. I'm on Twitter at @rmiriam. I'm here with Ann Kimmel of Locked On Predators, and it's our last Olympic episode.
I know it seems crazy, but they've wrapped up the play and we're almost done talking about it.
This has been an incredible few weeks of international hockey, and it's just been such a pleasure. Thanks for making Locked On NHL your first listen every day. We are free and available on all of your favorite podcasting platforms, and you can watch us over on YouTube. So before we get to the men's tournament results, just a quick rumor around Marie-Philippe Poulin following the gold medal winning performance. She had a captain clutch for Team Canada. There was a little bug out there that maybe an ECHL team was interested in her. It was the Montreal Canadiens affiliate. And she did say no, but it was kind of fun to think about.
It's really fun to think about. I would love to see her in the ECHL, but you know what? There is such great women's hockey going on right now internationally. It's going to be great to see her right where she is.
Exactly. All right, so heading over to the end of the men's tournament, in that gold medal game, Team Finland did prevail over ROC 2-1. Finland was undefeated in the tournament, and I think like the main reason they won this game was doing what Finland does best, and that's keeping the other team from getting quality shots off.
Yeah, I think they definitely contained ROC. Their shots on goal was 31-17 in favor of Finland. I think that they just shut down any opportunities that Russia was used to seeing in this tournament. ROC had a power play goal in the first period, and then Finland tied it up in the second period. And finally, in the first minute of the third period, Finland got a 2-1 lead. And that kind of just really took the wind out of Russia's sails. And that ended up being the final score of this one.
Yeah, that second goal was pretty tremendous. It was redirected from a Marco and to a shot. And it was just like one of those things that you think it's going to get stopped and then it doesn't. And then Finland just played total shutdown hockey in that third period. ROC only had 3 shots on goal the entire time. And that's just not going to get it done for you, right?
Yep. I thought it was a great win by Finland, and I think just a fantastic tournament for Finland. They really they came ready to compete, and they did a great job. It was exciting to see them take home the gold for sure.
Yeah, it was their first ever gold medal in the Olympics. So very exciting for them. Really fun to watch them celebrate. You do have to give some respect to Team ROC. I think the Russians really, played their hearts out. And of course, just from my personal perspective, I was glad to see Ivan Fedotov play really well, as a Flyers prospect. I'm looking forward to seeing if the Flyers can lure him over to North America and get our goalie depth a little better. But I think they put in the work and they absolutely deserve to be in that gold medal game. It was just like, it just seemed like nobody was going to stop Finland.
Yes, they really, once they got that lead, it was like you could tell they weren't interested in surrendering an inch, and ultimately took home the gold medal.
So looking at the bronze medal game, which was equally as exciting, although Sweden has been playing, a bogged down kind of game this whole tournament. So I was curious to see how that was going to match up against Slovakia, who was trying to take a ton of shots in their strategy throughout this tournament. And lo and behold, Slovakia prevailed 4-0. It's their first ever Olympic medal. And I would say the game was much closer than that score would suggest because there were 2 empty net goals at the end. But I think the biggest factor once again is Slavkovsky. He opened up the scoring and then got the first of the empty netters to seal the victory. And he was just a huge presence throughout the game.
He really had such a fantastic performance all the way through the tournament, but especially I would agree with you. This game really just highlighted again his skill level is just so elevated compared to what you would expect from somebody his age with his experience. But Slovakia did outshoot Sweden significantly, 43-28. They were just continuing to put shots on net. Lars Johansson was in net for Sweden, and he did just about everything he could do and really did well to keep the pucks out for the most part. But like you said, they ended up with 2 empty net goals, getting a 4-0 win. So a great tournament for Slovakia, and man, were they excited to take home that bronze medal. It was so great to see.
Yeah, and especially because they had lost to Sweden 4-1 in the preliminaries, and then they flipped it around this time, and they won when it counted. Their progression during the tournament was getting better and better. And when they beat Team USA, I think there was a lot of people that were surprised. But if you really watch that trajectory, they absolutely deserved to be there. They absolutely deserved that bronze medal, and could not be happier for that whole squad.
I agree with that 100%. Coming up, we're going to talk with Erica Ayala about just tournament overview. But first, want to let you know that this program is brought to you by Built Bar. This is, of course, that time of year where we start thinking about giving up on our New Year's resolutions. But I am actually sticking with my healthy eating resolution thanks to Built Bar. It almost feels like it's not really this resolution because I enjoy eating them. And have you tried Built Bar Puffs? If you haven't, you are missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first ever protein infused marshmallow. They are fluffy, they are marshmallowy. They're not just a regular old protein bar, they are a treat. Puffs are a fan favorite. They come in incredible flavors like cinnamony churro, coconut marshmallow, and banana cream pie. All Built Bars, including the Puffs, are covered in 100% real chocolate. You can go to built.com and you scroll down to the macros chart and be blown away by the numbers. They are high in protein, low in calories, high in fiber, low in carbs. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. When you compare that to a candy bar, candy bars usually have about 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. They have so many delicious flavors. They have mint brownie, coconut almond. I had a cherry barcia today. And new for this month, white chocolate cookies and cream. They have new flavors coming out all the time. At Built Bar, they are all about the taste. They make it taste delicious first. Then they figure out how to make it healthy. So go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On NHL your first listen every day. We are free and available on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. All right, for one last time, we are welcoming our pal Erica Ayala from Beijing to the show. How are you holding up, Erica?
Oh, just barely. I I have an afternoon flight, but they're kicking us out of the hotel super early tomorrow. So just trying to take it nice and easy and hopefully get stateside with no problems. But it's been quite an experience to be here in person.
I bet. So, looking back at Olympic hockey in Beijing, just a few maybe superlative awards like you would do it for yearbook at the end of the school year. Who, Erica, would be your top Olympic debut performance?
Um, for individual, I think you have to go with Sarah Fillier from Canada. Had such a stellar performance, really got Canada offensively off to the right start. As far as Olympic debut for a team, I think the Czech Republic really showed why they are a young team in the women's bracket that is really going to make this expanded field very competitive. And, all those think pieces talking about women's hockey and whether it belongs in the Olympics or not are really missing the forest for the trees, because the Czech Republic is a team that shows that young talent, when we have those U18 tournaments, that the feeder system, including the NCAA, is really great for women's hockey.
And who was your breakout performance?
For me, I think you have to say Slefkowski, which is always easier to say not being recorded. But I think he really had such a fantastic performance, did himself so much credit. Looking forward to the draft coming up. Just a young player, but really showed that he is capable of playing a very mature game and a very consistent, competitive game. So for me, I was just so impressed with his performance in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with both of you on your choices. I'm going to give a shout out to both teams from the host country, China. I think they
Yes.
just, under difficult circumstances, given they had such a huge mountain to climb, to be able to compete in these Olympics from when they were awarded it to this date, and building hockey programs that could show that they belonged there. And I really think they did. I think they did a tremendous job in both tournaments and acquitted themselves very well. And I think, both sides should be very proud of what they've accomplished. And hopefully China will continue to, grow their hockey programs going into the future. All right, next up, clutch performances. I have a feeling who people might pick on the women's side, at least. But Anne, who do you got?
I mean, I have to go with, when you say clutch performances, you have to go with Captain Clutch, Marie-Philippe Poulin. Just another amazing performance this whole tournament, but just really being the leader for her team, being cool under pressure. It just a fascinating watch all the way through this tournament. So for me, I really think she stood out as being just the one who was there when you needed her and able to perform under any circumstance.
How about you, Erica?
Well, actually, with all due respect to Marie-Philippe Poulin, I think there were other athletes in this tournament that were more clutch for their team, even on Team Canada. I think that Natalie Spooner and Sarah Nurse
Yeah.
were absolutely clutch and consistent throughout. And, I give the edge maybe to Nurse because she was setting up Captain Clutch. And because her and Brienne Jenner had such a great tournament, that really actually opened up the ice for Marie-Philippe Poulin. I think, there were also some great netminders, but I think I'm going to stick with my pick that really that top line for Canada. I don't think you go wrong with Nurse, Jenner, or Poulin.
Yeah, I think all of those are really good options. I think I'm going to also mention Lee Steckline for Team USA.
Yes.
I think that, she took on such a huge amount of the defensive work for Team USA in this tournament. And they absolutely would not have gotten as far as they did without her. I think, even in the quarterfinals, in the semifinals, it wasn't a slam dunk for Team USA. And I think she was a huge part of getting to the gold medal game for Team USA.
I mean, I absolutely love Lee Steckline. There was a lot of conversation about whether she was even going to make this Olympics, which makes me wonder if the next is is something where we'll see Lee Steckline. I like that pick. I think she definitely was, as she says, the team mom. But I also want to make sure I give some stick taps to Klara Peslarova, who I think had an amazing tournament and actually was the goaltender of the tournament on the women's side, and rightfully so. Her numbers were fantastic. When you look at goalies who saw more than 100 shots throughout the tournament, her numbers were better than Anne-Renée Desbiens. They were better than anyone else. And so, again, that Czech team, I think, really did a great job in this tournament. So I wanted to give some love there too.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to unsung heroes of the tournament. Maybe people who didn't get quite as much play, but definitely were huge contributors to their teams. I think for me, it was Patrick Rybar, the Slovakian goalkeeper. He had the best save percentage in the tournament. He only allowed 5 goals against in 7 games. He was the only goalie in the men's tournament with less than a goal allowed per game. He had 2 shutouts, no power play goals allowed. Like what a performance there.
Yeah, I would agree. I think he had such a fantastic tournament. And I think it was maybe a little surprising to a lot of people that his statistics were as good as they were. But, he really showed up strong in this tournament, consistent throughout. I mean, his consistency was just incredible, just didn't have really an off game for the most part. So I think he's great. I want to give a shout out to the fourth line of Team USA. I felt like they really brought some scoring and offense that maybe people didn't anticipate was going to be as important or as effective. Hated that they didn't maybe see as much ice time in the finals, but I thought throughout the tournament, what a strong performance by that fourth line.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I think there's so many people that I could potentially pick. A lot of names on Hockey Canada just because they performed so well that there were people like Claire Thompson who easily could be a breakout star. Obviously, did amazing. But I do want to stick with Canada, but I am going to take what is probably a more unique approach and really give the coaching staff some stick taps because
Yes.
Troy Ryan and his coaching staff, I'm still waiting for someone to pay me to write this full story, but it's been amazing to see Hockey Canada talk so openly about the work that they put in, and Troy Ryan trusting his team, having conversation with his team. And I do think that ended up being the difference in the gold medal game. Now, people will talk about coaching for the United States, I think rightfully so, about the rotation or lack thereof, about having a goaltender who tore an MCL start the most games in the tournament. All of those things are valid. But at the end of the day, the United States was within 1 strike of Canada and an equalizer, despite all of those things. So for me, the difference is what the coaching staff on Hockey Canada was able to do versus what the USA, I think, just ran out of time to do.
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent point. And yeah, I think we have spent a lot of time criticizing the US coaching, but not enough time praising the Canadian coaching for what they were able to accomplish. So I think you're spot on with that point. So looking at just some fun post-medal moments that were out there on the internet, I think there's some really good medal celebrations. I saw there was a video of Leo Komarov playing Heart and Soul on a hotel lobby piano to celebrate Finland's win. That was pretty cool. Erica, did you see any other fun videos or celebrations that you want to bring up?
I saw some after the men's gold medal game, I guess back in Finland, of people swimming right in a fountain of snow. That was a lot of fun. There was the locker room video that popped up on my feed. I feel like someone from Locked On maybe had that put that up there, but I don't know. Of the guys kind of dancing. All in everything gone but their jockstrap and their medal. So congratulations to them. On the women's side, I think what was a cool moment, and going back to my unsung heroes, is that I was leaving the arena just as the support staff, I guess, and the technical staff of Hockey Canada was leaving. And so they're not on the team bus. They were in one of the shuttles that we use to get around here, and they were so elated. They were cheering, but they also all came to the window and were waving and just saying thank you. The volunteers here have been amazing, and I just really thought that you could tell they were so joyous, but also just so thankful, and they were gracious in that moment, and I thought that was something pretty cool to see.
And was there anything you saw?
You know what? For me, I'm like old school, and even though it was not my national anthem, I have to say, just seeing the Canadian women's hockey team during the national anthem, I mean, my cheeks hurt watching them smile as big as they were. It was just, even though it was not USA, it just really just warmed my heart. It makes me a little bit choked up just thinking about it. They were so happy. So I thought that was just, for me, such a great moment.
Yeah, I made the tragic mistake of watching a media piece that was the Canadian women's families' reactions when they won the gold medal, and Jill Saulnier's mom just sent me off the edge, and I was crying. It was too much. I shouldn't have done it, but it was still so heartwarming. So, with everybody's families back home, you could see how hard the distance was, but that, they were cheering them on, and it was just a beautiful thing to see.
For sure.
So now that the Olympics are over, we have more hockey out there that we can watch. Of course, we have the NHL, but looking at the women's side of things, there are so many different opportunities out there right now to watch really good women's hockey. So I just want to make sure people know about those things. Of course, there are the two pro level options in North America, the Swedish SDHL notwithstanding. We have the PHF season is underway. Games are every weekend through March 20th. You can watch them on ESPN Plus in the United States and Twitch internationally. And it's really fun to watch the games on Twitch if you are able to do so. And then the PWHPA, which has a lot of the Olympians in it. They have a showcase in Ottawa coming up this weekend, and they'll be in Washington, D.C., March 4th through 6th.
Yeah, and we can't forget also sled hockey is going to be coming around too, and I'm excited. And I've said before to follow your lead there and get to learn a little bit more about adaptive hockey.
Yeah, I'm so excited about the sled hockey, and just especially not just Team USA, which is so exciting to watch and to follow, and the rivalry with Team Canada. But there are some really amazing international programs that are growing, that are going to be competing at the Paralympic Games. And it's going to be so fun to watch these other countries and see how their programs have grown and evolved and changed as well. So can't wait to share all of the sled hockey information that's coming up starting March 4th.
Indeed, indeed. And also, we heard IIHF actually had a press conference here the day of the women's gold medal game, but we have rough dates for when the world championships will be rescheduled for the men and for the women. And to a point we made earlier, this is a great way to see up and coming talent that's going to come through youth sports, that's going to come through the NCAA, and obviously is already in the pipeline to make these international teams at world championships and perhaps an Olympics.
Yeah, and one of the other things that was brought up for Olympics down the road, maybe not the next one, but the one after that, is adding a 3-on-3 tournament. So we would have two different men's and women's tournaments going on during the games, and that would be incredible.
That would be crazy, and I'm here for it.
Logistically, I have so many questions. So I'll just leave it at that. And I'm a it's kind of, got to see it to believe it kind of person. But at the end of the day, more hockey is good hockey. But how does it work overtime if they're already skating 3-on-3?
2-on-2, 1-on-1. What are we doing?
I don't know.
Shootout. It goes straight to the shootout.
One thing I do like about 3-on-3 tournaments is that they're much shorter. So the game is going to be an hour tops each. So
Yes.
it's a lot of action in a very short period of time, and I think it could be an exciting addition to Olympic hockey. Well, I think that'll do it for our Olympic Hockey Daily coverage. I just want to thank the Locked On Podcast Network for allowing us to do this run of shows over the last few weeks, and Sean Woodley from our Locked On NHL team for all his support. Of course, the lovely and talented Erica Ayala, who was able to join us throughout the tournament in Beijing. Erica, thank you so much for all your amazing coverage during these Olympics.
Oh, it was a pleasure to be here with you both, and congrats to you both, and thank you for making sure that there is a space for us to talk about international hockey on the men's, women's side, and eventually we'll also get around to the Paralympics as well. So stick taps to you both.
Thanks also to all of the incredible guests we've had along the way: Nicole Haase, Mike Murphy, Ann Tokarski, Stephen Ellis, Jay Foster, and Russ Cohen. And of course, thank you, Anne. Any final words?
This has just been so delightful, Rachel. I thank you so much for letting me participate in this. Have fallen in love with international hockey, women's hockey, and cannot wait to see what's coming up next.
Thank you to all of you out there for listening this whole time. And until next time, this has been Locked On NHL Olympic Hockey Daily.